This is if Sebastian Maniscalco was actually the one narrating my podcast. He would probably do something along the lines of this. Welcome back. So great to have you. I mean, I went down to the restaurant last week with my wife and kids. Could you believe they didn't have no man of fucking God? I don't know what, that was so funny. I love the way Sebastian Maniscalco talks. He's just like, could you believe the fucking nerve? All right, let's get into it. No more fucking horsing around. And we're on? Oh, we are on. Fantastic. It was really amazing seeing Adam Sandler and Chris Rock at the latest Knicks game over the weekend. Really exciting to see those two together. I mean, big comics, big guys in the comedian world. They've done so much as far as acting. I feel like a lot of people rag on them, especially Adam Sandler. Like, so what? He's done 1,000,001 fucking things. I think you have to be willing to go to great lengths to get your point across in this world. Otherwise, you're going to be just complacent and not get shit done. I loved it. I was like, oh my God, there they are. The zebra from Madagascar and Big Daddy watching a game together. I was very jealous. What we have to be very careful of today is how fast I drink this coffee. Because I've only had a sip and I'm already starting to move at a fucking very quick pace. Ooh, child, things are gonna get brighter. For you, Carte Blanche, baby. That means, basically what it actually means, I should probably tell you the premise behind that. Carte Blanche means blank in French, carte, and then blanche means check, carte blanche. But it's actually synonymous with being free and doing things, that are out there and freeing and make you feel alive. And it's kind of interesting because I've been hearing a lot about that. There goes that Sebastian Maniscalco again. He's like, you're hearing these things. You're not sure if they're right. I hope I get to meet him one day because he's fucking hilarious. Severely underrated. If you have never watched Sebastian Maniscalco, you should definitely do it. But you need to focus on your carte blanche for the week. You got a big week ahead, and I wanted to sit down and get you prepared, prime you up, and get you buttered up for the fucking week so you get to enjoy it. You get to see the things that are important. You don't have to worry about all that crap that doesn't matter because it's your time. It's your time to embrace the week ahead. And maybe the last couple of weeks haven't been great. Maybe recently things have not been fun for you. And let me tell you, I agree. Sometimes it's not fun. Like Jack Nicholson. I love Jack Nicholson. But I think it's traumatizing to me to think that Jack Nicholson has his best days are behind him. We don't have more time with Jack Nicholson. Like, he has already lived such a full life, and I love him as an actor. He's one of my favorite fucking actors. Definitely top 3. He might even be number 1. Like, he's up there with like Johnny Depp, like the big ones, the guys that are just themselves. And I think your carte blanche has to be you just being you. There's no other way to do it. People will love you for being yourself. They'll love you for being authentic. And maybe you don't always get it right. And that's okay. I always worry about getting it right. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't get it right. How will I live? I want it to be perfect, and I want it to come across perfect. And I want it to be this, neatly packaged present that you find under your Christmas tree, and it's just not like that. It's just not like that. We're really hard on ourselves. So your main focus for the week should definitely be how to not be as hard on yourself. But more than that, write your blank check to yourself. Jim Carrey did it. He wrote a blank check to himself for $1 million. it was him manifesting. I can literally feel the coffee coming back for round 2 in the back of my throat. So that's what's like happening here, where I'm like, it's coming up. I'm coming up. I want the world to know. Ooh, can we cue a little Don't You Think I'm Sexy by Rod Stewart? I'm loving that.
He got the Timo version.
We only have the Temu version. Whatever. Play it up, baby. Let's get it going for you. This one's for you. This soundtrack's for you. I don't know what to expect, so I hope you like it. But let's back up. Last night I was talking to my best friend in the whole world, Jesse. I said, Jesse, we talked for a couple hours. That's how we do. Guys talk just like girls, man. We gossip. We love gossip. We love the tea. You know, we're drama queens, man. I love gossiping, especially with Jesse or Will. I mean, we could do it all day and night. It really is the best. It's nice to have dialogue with people that can really contribute to a conversation. And if you don't have those people in your life, just know they do exist. So you should go find them. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you're in your early 20s, late 30s, go find people that you jive with where it's copacetic. I was talking to Jesse, and I'm like, Jesse, man, isn't it crazy how there's like, and this is so not me. Like, I preface this as like, this is not the way I think. I don't think of like extraterrestrial, metaphysical, galaxies, and all these things. It's just not me. I don't concern myself with, well, much of anything other than me. It's an easier life that way. Everybody's really worried about what goes on around them, and it's a blessing and a curse, but I'm not. I'm just like, I'm going to do the best I can, and hopefully that makes sense for the world. But lately I've been thinking, like, what's out there, man? You know? Like, do I just pay my rent every month and that's it? Like, what'd it do, you know? Like, am I just going to pay off my car and 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 one day just, I won't even have a car? Like, do the aliens drive through and, like, put up their windows and lock their doors because they don't want nothing to do with us? Like, is that really happening? Like, because if it is, I can't handle that. I can't handle that type of information. I see how conspiracy theorists literally fly off the hinges. I understand it. Because if you had to think of that stuff constantly, I would lose my mind. I would lose my mind. I would be unwell. Unwell to think of aliens and shit. Look at Joe Rogan. He's got to eat like DMT and mushrooms just to be Joe Rogan. Otherwise his alien insides start. Let me out. I gotta tell you, I make a good cup of coffee. Find somebody that makes a good cup of coffee in your life. That should be a carte blanche right there. Good cups of coffee. Wherever I go, whatever's after all of this, I hope there's good coffee there. I do. I was talking to Jesse last night. I'm like, Jesse, dude, what are we gonna do? Like, how's this all work out? Like, I don't usually concern myself with life after my life because I'm too busy living my current life that I'm like, I don't really want to think about what it's like when I'm dead, especially because it made me all fucking anxious and stuff. I was like, I don't know if I can handle this information. You know, it's like when you want the truth, but like you're really not sure if you should have the truth. It was one of those scenarios, and I'm like, and then Jesse in his infinite wisdom used the Horton Hears a Who reference. And I couldn't even believe it. Jesse is, I got to tell you, the friends I have, they're creative. They don't give themselves enough credit. And through all the gossip and nuance in our conversations, we talk about there's some real shit in there. It would be almost near impossible to get it out in one episode to you, the things that we cover and the topics that are talked about and really what it's all about. And it led me to one kind of question is, you know, is the world getting worse or am I just becoming more aware? Am I just no longer this child that's just full of all these emotions firing off rapidly? And now I'm an adult and the real world is here. Is it just that? Has this world been where it is forever? Has this always been happening? All the things I've been thinking about? And lately, I've even just been worrying about my loved ones. Usually, I'm just so on autopilot. I'm like, yeah, they'll be all right. It'll be okay. I'll see you on the other side, hey? And lately, I'm like, I'm not feeling that same Anthony. Where did Anthony go? Has he lost himself? I think you have to accept that you might lose yourself at some point. It's necessary. I really believe it's necessary for you. It's imperative. It's a vital part of our lives to eventually look at ourselves, even if it's from the third person, and say, what the fuck, man? Who am I? Who is this person? I'm like, whoa, man. Whew. Am I just getting older, or all these things, all the things I think, have they always been there? Jesse says to me, bro, you know I love you. Remember this. A person's a person, no matter how small. Like, Jesse, did you just quote Horton Hears a Who? He's like, yeah, those little guys that live on the speck. Those little guys, the elephant found him, Horton. And he protects them with his life. I was like, what? This movie came out in like, I don't know, 2008? I mean, I don't know that the writing behind it was exactly masterful, but it's certainly, looking back on it in retrospect, it's certainly one of those things that kind of makes you scratch your head. He said those little guys in Whoville, the Whos that live in Whoville, need to be protected. I'm like, Jesse, what if we go our whole lives and we're just dead, dude? I said, I hope when I die, you're there with me. You know, I hope my homies are there. He's like, I don't. He's like, I want to go with you. I'm like, what the fuck you mean you don't want to go with me? A person's a person, no matter how small. The entire premise for the movie. That's something we have to consider more, really. And I'm happy that I've been thinking of aliens driving through Newark, New Jersey, and putting up their windows and locking their car doors. I'm happy. I'm happy that I've been thinking about those things, because I'm not sure I would be able to have the revelation of sorts that would say, okay, like, there's more to this. There's a lot more to this. There's so much more to life. And that's why it's so important that you live a life that is full with people you love, and write blank checks to yourself. Aim for the stars. Really. People shortchange themselves so often. I do it a lot with my writing, and it's something I always put in front of myself when I'm writing anything. How do I write this without limits? How do I write this? Like, what freakazoid on freakish earth thought, let me write a movie about an elephant who finds a small land on a speck of dust called Whoville? You don't just do that. That doesn't just happen. That's genius. That's brilliant. There's no other way to put it. You can't just conjure that up while you're drunk with a couple well, maybe you can conjure that up when you're drunk with a couple buddies, but I don't know that it'll make it into the execution phase. It might just stay in the ideation phase where you're like, oh, this is a really good idea. It's a really good idea. It's a really good idea. And then you never get to the place where it all makes sense. I can feel that coffee kicking my ass, man. And if you don't get it together this week, I'm going to be kicking your ass. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been subscribing and liking and reaching out. It's always a fun process when you start a new project. And I've done so many new projects over the last couple years. And I've loved every single one of them. I really have. I think it's been fantastic. Every single project I think has challenged me to be a little bit more me. And I think that's great because for someone like me, it's like awkward being me. It's even more awkward knowing that people like what I do. It really is. I don't know how to put it. I said to Mary yesterday, I said, I hate that people like me. It drives me crazy. It drives me fucking wild. I'm like, stop doing that. I have problems. I'm not working with a full deck here. I'm not. I don't think any of us are. And that's why it's so amazing because you don't have to be. And people are going to love you for your little quirks and who you are, even if you don't love yourself for them. A person's a person, no matter how small. Straight from the words of Horton Hears a Who. A person's a person, no matter how small. And you got to get jammed up for your week ahead. Play some good musics. Good musics. Ooh, that's a new one. Musics. Plural. How can you pluralize music? Maybe if we had like music tracks. Sometimes I just like to add little syllables to words without my knowing. It just happens. My mouth just does it. I'm just like talking, and all of a sudden I put, you know when you put two words together into one, and then you sound real stupid. And nobody will say anything to you either, which makes you feel fucking totally embarrassed. You're like, great, I said it, and nobody's gonna even call me out on it. Not me. I'll call people out on it. I think you have to. I think you have to be an honest person and let somebody know, yo, man, what the hell what is it, your first day talking? You not doing this before? What a world we live in. Really, here in Whoville. That's where my head is. Lately, I'm just kind of like, what's all this about? What's the meaning behind any of this? It's hard to say. But I do know I want to enjoy every bit of it. Every fucking last bit of it. And I want to show other people how to do that. I think that's an important part of living is sharing. We've become so isolated. We don't want to share nothing. It's like we all have the secret codes, but like we don't want to give them up. And I feel quite the opposite. I feel we should share everything. Maybe too much. But share it, man. Like, how are we going to get better if we don't, work together? How are we going to get better if we don't have a plan that we can execute together? How are we going to pursue our dreams if we're not willing to work together? I'm in a weird headspace. Very strange. Very strange. It's almost Valentine's Day here in the world. I don't know if the aliens know that. I wonder what Jack Nicholson's doing for Valentine's Day. I'd like to go wander around the city and find him. If I bumped into Jack Nicholson in the city, I don't know that I would ever really be whole again because I'd have to follow him home and, wait for him to come back out and then hug him because I love him and he's fantastic. And then the NYPD would be there and they'd be like, what are you doing? And I'd be like, what do you mean? I'm not doing anything. It's all in your head. It's all in your head. That's like on Cops when they pull somebody over, and on Cops are like, and they pull somebody over and they run and the dogs go and fucking eat the shit out of them because they're like idiots, so they take off. And they like reach into their pockets and find like, a couple kilos of like cocaine or whatever. And it's like, the first thing they can say is, oh, those are not my pants. Those are not my pants. Cops like, whose pants are they? Like, that's not my pants. That's not my pants. And it's always like some white trash person. It's just awful. It's just awful. It's never like a homie, It's never like one of our like African American friends or like Hispanics. It's always a white trash fucking, I used to have more faith in humanity. Maybe it is just me getting old. Who knows? I've become more aware. And through cops, it's been possible. It's been possible. Look at what they're doing already with the new administration, and great, Trump is now president, blah blah blah. But look at what all these big titans are doing: Target, Lowe's, Costco, Apple, Walmart, all these big elitists of the world. I mean, talk about capitalism. It's fucking here. I mean, it's here and it ain't going nowhere. So you better buckle up, baby, because if you're below a 150K as a single man, you're going to be drowning. And if you got a family, shit, you better just fucking pack up and leave. You don't have a chance here. You go over to the UK, they got free health insurance. Or Canada. Trudeau just stepped down, so I mean, there might be something there for you. Probably not. I don't know. I lost faith, though, because these big companies, they started abandoning their DEI compliance policies. And I don't know that a lot of people know this about me, but I have a long history of sales and hospitality. And that's what I do as my full-time job. And it's pretty fantastic. And I like to think I've worked my way up the totem pole quite a bit. And so I'm involved in, I think, not just higher level conversations, but I'm surrounded by incredibly smart people. And I'm so grateful for that, because it always keeps me reaching for more. It used to intimidate me. Now I'm just like, I can't get enough of these people. I work with some of the greatest people in the industry, especially the hospitality industry. You're working in hotels with people that are like willing to run through walls for you. And there's no greater feeling than that. But I'm watching these companies abandon their DEI compliance, which are diversity, inclusion type things. And, it's kind of disappointing. Like, Target, they abandoned one of their compliance policies, which would help Black-owned products get onto their shelves. And that kind of threw me for a loop. And I was watching the reporters talking about it. I'm like, okay, I'm like I wouldn't even know what to call myself. I'm like a progressive conservative. I believe change is necessary, but, I pick and choose, pulling at straws, basically. Oh, God. Sorry, I got a cock in my throat. I'm sorry, what? What'd you say about my mama? You said what? And they abandoned these policies. They are shading the Black community. I'm sorry. No, they're not. I'm just creating narrative. It's like, dude, like, do something good. Do something good. It's and look at it. They see what's going on in the world at the very tippity top, and they want to get their piece of the pie as if they don't have enough. Target. I like you, Target. What the hell's the matter with you? Although I was in there yesterday and couldn't find a fucking potting plant. So that was a pot for my plant. See, that's what I mean. You say stupid shit, nobody calls you out on it. You just let me rock with it. And I'm like, ooh. I was kind of thrown off. I was like, Target, you guys are headquartered in Minneapolis. That's the home of the George Floyd cases. You better fucking lock your doors and put the shutters up, because they're going to come to that building and yeah. Not going to be good. Not going to be good. I love African Americans. I've had so many great friends that were not white people, and I don't know why we see things so black or white. I really hate that. And some people I love have a little bit of racism in them, and I don't try to sway their opinion. People feel how they feel, but I do feel that a person's a person, no matter how small. Truly. I don't care where you come from, man. I've come from some really fucked up things, and I've gone through some really fucked up things, and I would never want somebody to treat me, or if I had kids, I would never want them to be treated differently because of the colors or whatever, and like African Americans had, you guys had Martin Luther King. That's pretty dope. He was a good dude. The Hispanics had, like, I don't know, Scarface, Fidel Castro. Us whites, man, we don't even have any. We just got crackheads on cops just saying these aren't my pants. I mean, like, we have Eminem. He's like barely white. Whatever. I give up on that. There's nothing there. You suck. Go home. You've got a big week ahead, and you have to make sure you're prepared. The 5 P's, proper planning prevents poor performance. And use what you know and use what you have at your fingertips to make it possible this week. Maybe write a blank check to yourself. Have you considered what maybe that might do for you when it comes to manifesting your own destiny? I talked a lot about having fate in any one thing and how much your choices, your active choices, your intentional choices that you make are so tied into your fate and, embodied in where you take your life. It's your destiny, the choices that you make. It's not just happenstance. It's not just, oh, this is what happened. How did I get here? It's your destiny to be where you are. And whether that's a good place or a bad place is up for you to kind of sort out where you want to head to. Every week is a new week to turn the page. It's a new week to turn the page. It really is. I think this week for me, I want to embrace my peers. I want to embrace the places that I love the most. And I want to embrace these new and irregular type ideas I've been having. Because it's strange at first when you're changing. It's confusing. And I'm not typically confused. Usually I feel this or that. It's like this and that and if you know the song, then you know I can't say those words, so I'll get in trouble. But your life is not any one thing, and maybe there's a good reason behind being confused, and maybe a little lost, and maybe just trying to sort some things out. I always embrace my challenges because I feel I learn the most from them. And I hope that you do too, because life is really short and we don't really know what's after this. You really have no idea. And usually I don't concern myself with it. So when people say, do you know what do you think is after this? I'm like, I don't know, man. I have work tomorrow though. I got a meeting at 7 a.m. that I do know nobody's going to be thinking about aliens at that time. So, and that's just relative to your life. You have to get your kids to school. You have to do the laundry. You have to make lunches for the week. Make sure you do your meal prepping. Do not let your meal prepping fall to the wayside. You'll be so much happier when you're eating healthy and you have healthy habits. And that's been a lot of what I've been thinking about the last year, where getting rid of a lot of the bad habits before even implementing the new things I want to do. Because you can always do new and more things. You can always add more to what you want to do. But it's very difficult to get out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone. Where we all love to be. Where we all love to thrive and go to. Especially when we feel our worst. You will always come back to home base. Those habits, the habitual things that are in your environment, you'll go right back to them. It won't even matter. Don't let your progress be in vain just because you're having a bad day. Remember that this week. When you're having a bad day, it's teaching you something. It's hard to say what that is because sometimes, God, it's so annoying. I wish this would stop. But it's always going to show you something that maybe you didn't know before. I hope you enjoy your week more than anything. Because when we're kids, that's all we thought about doing. And hey, don't worry about getting it right. Just do it. Just really have fun doing it. Maybe people misunderstand you. Maybe people want to misconstrue your words. Perhaps people want to use your words against you. Are there people in your life that are working against you? I hope you take a good look around this week and really ask yourself, what do you want? And where do you want to go? How do you want to feel when you get there? Remember these things. They're so critical. And they're not things that we think about too often, but they're things that need to be thought about. Crack some jokes along the way. Remember that there's people relying on you this week. There's people looking forward to you. Showing up and being there with them and having fun with them. You are the life of the party, whether you like to believe it or not. You have to accept that. You have to let go of the person that you no longer are and embrace the person that you're becoming. You could be 20. You could be 25. You could be 45. You could be 50, 65. Age is just a number. Because a person's a person, no matter how small. Have a good week. See you later.